This is Mo Wilkinson. You're watching NYJFTV.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to our first installment of NYJFTV. I'm one of your hosts, Kevin Sirkin. And with training camp underway, football is back, and I couldn't be any more pumped up to get this show going. Joining us today on the panel, everybody's favorite Jets fan, Fireman Ed, and former New York Jets wide receiver, Rob Carpenter. What's going on, guys? Are you fired up or what?
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
Ready to get the season going. Ready to definitely get the season going.
Definitely glad Fitz is back. But before we even get into all the offseason nonsense, let's take a look back at 2015. Some people looked at it as a failure because final week of the season, had a shot at the playoffs, didn't get it done. Other people look at it as Mike Maccagnan, Todd Bowles' first year, took a giant step off a 4-12 season. How do you view the first season under Todd Bowles and Mike Maccagnan?
Well, for me, it was definitely 10 steps forward. Withstanding the last game with that chance to actually make the playoffs, the way things actually went along with the season, everything went pretty much as, for me, I would have expected. I did expect them to win 9 or 10 games, nothing less. The way the offense was going to be with all the weapons that were added to the team, I knew the defense would keep the team pretty much in every game, so it was basically up to the offense to actually win games in the end, and for the most part, they did that. And hopefully, jumping into this season, learned a lot from last season and keep that momentum going.
No doubt, good stuff. Ed, what are your thoughts?
Listen, I thought going into the season last year, you have a first-year coach, first-year GM, a lot of turnover. Going into last season, I wanted them to be competitive. If they would have a shot at maybe the playoffs, that would have been great. Obviously, as the season was going on, as a fan, you get more hungrier. You expect more things. You start to not realize what the beginning picture was, and you start looking at, well, wait a minute, we could do something more. And I understood that, and I got it. Was I disappointed in the Buffalo loss? Absolutely was disappointed. But I also thought that team came together for a first-year team, the way they came together, hence Fitzmagic coming back to the team, just goes to show you when you hear these guys talk in the locker room and you start seeing Snapchats and pictures of them in the locker room with Mango smiling and Brandon Marshall. And, there's a lot to be said for that, man. There's just so much to be said for that. So it's an exciting time. I'm excited about the season.
No doubt. So it's glad that we're bringing back Mo, we're bringing back Fitz. But what is it going to take from this team to get over the hump in 2016? What do you think? Well,
for me, I was just saying to Rob off air, there's a couple of things that I think could bring us to the elite level. Number one is obviously Ryan needs to play. He doesn't have to throw for 31 touchdowns like everybody thinks. What Ryan needs to do is have a 2-to-1 ratio, so have 2 touchdowns to 1 interception. So if he throws for 26 touchdowns or 24 touchdowns, he throws 10, 12 picks. That's going to be that means you're playing good football overall. I think the key to this season is going to be Ryan Clady staying healthy, and can he get back to that level that he was with Denver 2 years ago and be a Pro Bowl player. That's going to be huge for our offensive line. The second thing, I think, is the linebacker core, the young linebackers, Molden, Jenkins, Lee. How are they going to come on? Are they going to be able to react like the defensive line will, which we expect, and our D-backs, which we expect? That middle will determine, are they going to be a 5 to 10 defense, top 10, 5, or are they going to be one of the top defenses in the NFL? And that's going to be the difference, I think, in whether we're going to be a 7-9, 8-8, 9-7, or are we going to be an 11-win team? because I think we have the capabilities of doing that.
No doubt. We've been searching for that speed at linebacker for so long, going back even before Rex Ryan. So just having Darren Lee in here, Malden, Jenkins, it's going to be fun watching that linebacker core. What are your thoughts, Rob?
I echoed everything Ed just said. You know, it was as he said, we were talking off air, and my thing was with the defense, with that front seven, you know, with the speed that there is now, you had Mo, Sheldon, Leonard, you know, and the pressure they could generate from that front seven, it's just going to give the back four just a whole lot more anticipation to make a lot of plays early, in downs, early in third down. You know, you put a lot of pressure on the quarterback quick. A guy like Revis can anticipate a lot of routes really quick, and you know that's how you generate a lot of turnovers. That's how you generate a lot of sacks. And with that speed there now, you probably, and I hope, you know, Todd Bowles actually gets to unleash these guys, you know, a whole lot with that speed that they have. And with the offense, the way the turnover is right now with the offense, well, hopefully there is not much turnover on the offense itself. Hopefully everybody can stay healthy, and we can continue to actually go and improve from the way things were last year. And adding Forte is just another ring on the chain.
That's going to be huge, having that versatility out of the backfield with him and Bilal Powell. I think that's going to be awesome. Something that they didn't have last year when you had Chris Ivory in there. You kind of knew you were running the ball.
Exactly.
Now you got Powell and Forte coming in there.
And you get Kyrie Robinson if he comes off that leg injury, because he's identical to our man Chris Ivory, who we hated to see go. Right. But if he can be somewhat of that kind of back, man, you got a three-headed monster that is could cause some havoc, real havoc.
Excitement waiting to happen.
And let's not forget, you got Devin Smith coming back, you got Jason Morrow coming back, you added Sharon Peak in the 7th round, so there's weapons all over besides just Brandon Marshall and Eric Decker. So this offense is absolutely loaded. So I'm excited to see what Fitz is going to do.
That's why I'm saying with Ryan Clady, that's huge, because if he can solidify that offensive line, man, the sky's the limit.
Absolutely.
You know, if we can stay healthy. So it's exciting. You know, I'm jacked up for it.
Yeah. Me
Can't wait.
Me too. So let's transition over to the first contract saga that kind of went for about 3 or 4 months with Muhammad Wilkerson. Last minute, they finally strike a deal, 5 years, $85 million. Some people were a little skeptical about whether or not this was going to happen. You know, do you want to keep Sheldon later on? You know, he's got the off-the-field stuff. Would you rather keep Mo, the guy who's just a model citizen? He does so much in the community. You can put him anywhere on the defensive line, and he's going to excel. So what were your thoughts on bringing back Mo?
Listen, I'm a Mo fan. I mean, number one, he's from Linden. He's just a pillar of the community. He's a great example of what you want to be as a Jet. You know, he's homegrown. You know, first-round pick. You know, he does everything that you would want. He's your building block of the future. When you sign him, you make a statement to that locker room that we're keeping our own. We're keeping our guys. And when I seen that happen, I couldn't have been more excited for him and for our fan base, because that man is going to be the difference for years to come for that defense. He just set an example. McCagnon, my man Mikey Mack, I love him. He has set the tone for the future, and I couldn't be more excited for Mo Wilkerson. I love Mo.
And I think it spoke volumes. As soon as that deal was announced, you saw almost every single player in that locker room speaking out on social media about how glad they were that Mo was coming back. So I think that's awesome. What do you think?
Well, for me, the way contract sagas go, I will never be, as a former player, I know the protocol, so I would never be worried about any point in time until camp starts. If a guy's not signed on the day camp starts and there's really a big impasse at that point in time, then I would start to get worried. The 3 months leading up to that, it's the off season. That's just how things go. You know, there's going to be, we're talking, no, we're not talking, but they're talking. There's always talking. Yeah. And there's always something that's always there. A starting point is always there. It's just that when the clock starts ticking and camp is about to start and you know that things have to be done, then it's like, okay, let's get this done.
Sells good papers, right?
Yeah, of course.
It sells good papers, man. It's good headlines.
It's always fodder. It's always
the chatter going. You know,
exactly.
Rich Samini and all them guys, man, they're all happy because they just keep that. And I was saying that to you on Sunday. I said, listen, when it comes down to it, they're going to sign Fitz.
Yeah.
And it's all banter. It's all nonsense. And they had a number, and they knew their number. And if they could get him for 10, they were going to get him for 10. If they get him for 8, they were going to get him for 8. But hey, kudos to Fitz and Sexton. They held out, and he got the $12 million. It's a fair deal. Yeah. It's a fair deal. He's a good quarterback. He threw for 31 touchdowns. He's a good. I don't care if other teams don't want him. That's because they're all set. They're all set in what they're doing.
Is there any concern that after the Fitz deal and after the Mo deal, you're already over the cap for next year? Does that give you any concern with so many guys that are aging? You need to make some improvements on the offensive line?
Fitz is a one-year deal, so that's gone after next year. I really don't think that it's going to be a big issue moving forward.
It's only a $5 million hit on the cap this year, and I think they got $7 million dead money next year.
Yeah, it's $7 this year and then $5 million dead next year.
Yeah. The cap's going up so much next year. I mean, they already, Mikey Mack, he knows what the numbers are for next year. We're not looking as fans. We're not looking at all of that stuff. We're looking at now. He has a plan. I mean, in reality, have we seen this man and this regime, have they done anything wrong since he's here? I mean, if they have, just let me know, because I haven't seen anything that guy has done that, I'm like, oh, man.
Everything is moving in a
Let me throw one question at you.
Like what he's doing.
This was brought up on social media a lot, the fact that he held out for so long with Mo, then finally at the deadline, they strike a deal. Same thing with Darren Lee. Last minute, they strike a deal. And then you have Fitz, 7 p.m., day before camp, they strike a deal. Does that set a precedent for other agents that say, hey, you're not offering your best deal right now. We're going to wait this thing out until the very last minute, and then we know you're going to come up on your offer?
Not really.
No?
No. It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way with everybody. You'll see that for the most part, that will go with the guys that are actually already set on the team. When you're out trying to get free agents, it doesn't work that way. Okay. You're going to get a free agent, you have to actually be in the mix because there's going to be other teams in the mix right away. When you have a guy like Mo, Mo wanted to be here. Everybody knew Mo wanted to be here. They talked about that. That's pretty obvious that was talked about. Mo actually was coming off of an injury, so he was going to rehab his injury for the offseason. Mack and those guys knew that. Bowles knew that. If you hear Todd Bowles talk, he knew Mo was going to be here. You could see the way actually everything was being set up and the way things are talked about. Those guys really know what's going on. So if it's somebody that's actually on a team and they're coming up for free agency, that might be a possibility. It might drag on because the chatter was already there. The talk is already there. They actually know everything that's going to go on, the numbers that probably will be needed to get a deal done. It's just different when it's other free agents because when it's other free agents and free agency starts, you have to jump in the fire right then and there if it's a guy that you want and other teams are going to be there. So you can't wait that out. There's nothing to wait out. It's just different when you have a guy on your team.
It's nice and refreshing to see, Kev, when there's no leaks from Florham Park.
Exactly.
How about we have a regime now, Jet fans, that none of these guys that have all their sources from the Daily News and a couple other spots.
There you go.
You don't know anything. You don't know anything. He don't want you to know anything. This is a professional football team, and I'm very excited and proud to be a New York Jet fan. Yeah.
Love it. And that was beautiful with the Mo deal. I mean, you saw at 4 o'clock, every single news outlet was saying, all right, Jets couldn't reach a deal with him, and they were already printing out the headlines. And then 4:30, the news drops out of nowhere. How awesome was that to see?
Everybody was excited, especially coming from, and listen, I loved Rex. I loved Rex. But at the same token, Rex started to wear on you because it was just, it never ended. It was a circus. It was,
I said that.
It's nice when you're winning. Yeah. When you ain't winning, then you're the talk of the town. It's, it's annoying and
I said
concerning
that
and everything.
When Mack and Bowles actually were, when they became the team itself in the front office, I said all the leaks are going to stop, and then you're going to see all the media start to make up things. So they're going to start to make up scenarios that they think is happening. Yeah. So when you see this source said this
source.
Oh, we heard it yesterday.
Imaginary friends.
Yeah, we heard it yesterday.
Friends.
Fitzpatrick is going to drag into the offseason for 2 or 3 weeks, and
then you'll
bam,
see,
we get a contract
them saying, let alone the sources that are actually going on, they'll rehash something that they had already said a month before. It's the same thing.
It was great yesterday. I'm looking at the Twitter line, right, the timeline, and Ian Rappaport. I love. He's sharp. He's good. Like Adam Schefter, they're great. And Ian had just said, and I had texted to my man Jason. I said, listen, I said, they're saying that, this is going to go through go through camp. It's going to, there's no negotiation. I'm not kidding you. Within an hour, it was way less than an hour. I don't remember exact. And all of a sudden he goes, there's ongoing talks. It's back forth. Something is imminent. And I'm like, this is beautiful because there's no leaks.
They're guessing. Yep.
There's no leaks. It's just it's awesome for a Jet fan when we went through the circus. Rob.
The only time anything comes out is when the information is sent from Florham Park to Broadway. That's it. So when that information is sent from there to the NFL offices, and then it's actually put out there as knowledge, then it's there. Then you can believe it. Anything else before that, just say, yeah, okay, I'll
Love
wait.
it.
I'll wait.
No doubt, no doubt. So going back to Mo for a second, with him coming back, do you think that completely eliminates any shot of the team re-signing Sheldon Richardson in the future?
I don't think that's a problem with that at all.
So you got a couple years away yet.
Yeah, the cap is going to go up.
They got the
Sheldon has 2
three of them
more
they
years.
have for at least 2 years.
Yeah, I think
at
Sheldon
least,
has
and
2
I
years.
think they could have him for 3 years because if they franchise him,
You just got to worry about allocating
That's-
so much money to the defensive line
well,
when you're going to have a lot of core veterans that you might have to replace.
Remember one thing: the salary cap is going to keep going up because these TV revenue that they're getting from these TV, and now you're getting into all the internet. Now you're getting Twitter starting to bid, and all these social media outlets. The pie is just going higher and higher, man. So you don't know what's going to happen. Believe me, these guys, the executives, our guys, Mikey Mac, he knows exactly what the numbers. He can foresee what the numbers are in 2 years, and he has a plan. There's a plan. It's not random giving money out.
Right.
Am I right or wrong,
Yeah,
Rob?
you're right. You can see, with the way the deals are being structured right now, they aren't going to be, backloaded so much where the hit on the cap for the next guy to be signed, where that's going to be a problem. They're doing the deals now, and you'll see when it's Sheldon's turn, the deal will get done, and it won't be a big cap hit. Everything will be just fine, and then the next person, whoever that next quote unquote franchise guy might be, stepping up, whether it's on the offense or the defense, and it won't be
Sheldon's got it. Sheldon's got to prove that he can
No
stay within the confines of the criteria for the Jets. I mean, it can't be a free for all when you're going home to St. Louis. So, I mean, are they going to put money into him? I'm not sure they're going to put money into him. I'm not saying they're not, but he's got a couple of years before they're going to start giving money out to a guy that was suspended now for the second year in a row. First 4 games, now a game. I mean, you're not on the field. You're not any good to us if you're not on the field. Exactly. So, I mean, thinking about Sheldon Richardson right now, I just want to see him become he's got a good example from Mo Wilkerson.
Exactly.
Mo Wilkerson, their buddy. You don't hear anything about Mo. All right?
Never.
So let's see what happens when that down the road. Right now we have the monsters. We got the beasts are there for at least 2 more years. So let's see where the kid Leonard Williams.
The sky's the limit for him, man.
This is the beast.
And then that's what I was getting
Oh
to.
my God.
He's next. So first it was Mo, and you have Sheldon. As long as Sheldon, as you were just saying, as long as Sheldon for the next 2 years can stay out of trouble, I don't think they're going to have a problem paying him because I think Todd Bowles and Mac really like him.
He's very
and know that
versatile.
and know that he's just had to grow up. And once he shows that he has grown up,
came in the league at 20 years old.
yeah. And then next is Leonard.
A lot of them do. Yeah.
Leonard is
So does
actually that
Leonard.
guy that you're going to see
Jeez.
be the guy in the middle for the
He
next
could be
10
better
years.
than both of them.
Yeah.
I
the
mean,
next
we're
10
going to
years.
find out this year, but he could be better than both of them. Now, just imagine that. He ain't thinking anymore. Now he's just reacting.
Exactly.
He's in the second year. He's a rookie. He's going in. I mean, I love what Pepper Johnson said in minicamp. Did you read what Pepper Johnson said? And Pepper Johnson was saying, man, he goes, this guy came in here. He goes, this is a different player. He says, there ain't no more thinking. He goes, he coming in here, he's just causing havoc. He goes, the sky is the limit for Leonard Williams.
It's
So,
like that for a rookie when you actually
You know.
playing a defense like that when a lot of things are going on, and just to see the way that he actually handled himself all year last year.
Yeah.
And the next step
It'll
for
be
this
great,
year,
man.
holy crap.
When we signed Mo like that, I mean, we were all worried about it. I really didn't think they were going to sign Mo. It sure didn't. have any signs pointing like they were gonna.
I had no
Did
problem.
you think that?
I did. I knew they were going to sign him. I
God
had
bless
no,
you. Well,
no
you know,
issues
being a
with it.
former player, you probably have that.
Like I
you
said,
know,
for a guy
you
that's
have
on the
that
team,
feel of the vibe, right? You know,
for a guy that's on the team,
it's the
you know
difference
that a
between
lot
a
of
fan
times
and a player.
it comes down to the last minute, especially with the guy who's actually and franchise tags. So guys with franchise tags, you see it all the time. They don't want to sign the franchise tag
No, can't blame
till
them.
the last minute, if not a deal can be struck. But even if they weren't under the franchise tag and a guy wanted to stay with the team, I never, ever, ever, ever worry about a guy signing his deal until that day of camp starts, and then he says, "I'm not coming." Then you're like, okay, how long is this going to last?
Yeah, now the media is getting involved. Now
Right.
it becomes more of a circus,
Right.
and then it really does become a distraction. So that's the
I
part
never-
of
I never
the
pay
team. They don't
attention.
want that.
I never pay attention to the Twitter timeline, to fans always talking about, get the deal done, get the deal
Yeah.
done. Like it's
Well,
May.
makes sense.
Camp doesn't start until July. Why are you worried about him signing now?
The big boys are going to put their pants on.
Yeah.
when day one
When
comes,
that
the big
day-
boys are putting their
When that
pants
day
on.
starts and the whistle blows, if he's not here, then we might have a problem.
That's awesome.
All right, so we were just talking about the cap and everything, and one of the best ways to get around the cap is by drafting well, something that we haven't really done well in the past. What were your thoughts on the draft this year? Start with you, Rob.
I actually like the draft this year. I liked the draft last year. So, it just, things are progressing the right way. The hits that are being made now in the draft, are making the team that much better. And it just looks, the future looks pretty bright the way these guys are actually handling their business in the front office and making the draft picks that they are making and making the deals in free agency that they're making. So I'm liking the way the direction is going.
You know, I'm a believer. Bill Parcells was my favorite, so I loved Bill.
Yeah.
And Bill's mantra was always, "Did you play for Bill?"
Nope.
No. And
Groceries.
Bill always said, "You can never have enough offensive linemen.
Okay.
You can never have enough offensive linemen." And I think that's where it begins and ends. So,
Were you a
if
little
there was-
surprised
if
that
there
they
was
waited until the
any
fifth round, though?
disappointment,
Yeah.
that would be the disappointment in that they didn't go after an offensive lineman. And I know there's all reasons in that war room, and we're not privy to that. So we don't know exactly what's going on. That's something we don't know as fans, and, they keep it tight-lipped. But if there was anything that I would have liked seeing, I mean, Brandon Shell, he's Art Shell's grandson or great nephew, whatever. It's the blood's there. We'll see what happens. So that would be my only. But I really enjoyed the fact that they addressed the linebacker corps because we were getting old in the tooth there, and see these young guys with Malden, which we're expecting a lot from.
Yep.
Love Lorenzo.
Me too,
I
man.
mean, got to see him at the charity event with Jason and for Brandon's project 375,
Yep.
right? And Malden is just
Great
Lorenzo's
guy,
a
great
great
motor.
guy, and he's ready. So the linebacker corps was that was big for the draft. I felt.
Do you think Jordan Jenkins is going to be ready to take that step and be a starter opposite Malden?
Well, if
Or do you think it's
listen-
going to be somebody like
if you
Trevor
listen-
Riley?
You listen to Calvin Pryor when we sat when I had an opportunity to talk to Calvin Pryor when Jason had the T-shirts and signing the T-shirts, and I said, so what'd you think of minicamp? Anybody that you can give me a little something on? And he's right away, boom, he says, that kid Jenkins from Georgia, that kid's a player. He says he just gets it. And when I hear that from a safety, about a young kid, that fires you up, especially a third rounder, which is
see-
even better.
You see how
so.
Malden played last year.
He's a third rounder.
Exactly. So you got another guy following right in those footsteps, Jenkins, and then you got
That's how you win championships.
and Lee.
You
The
get those-
speed that these guys have flying around on defense, man. And I said it prior to the season starting last year. I said Malden's going to end up starting.
Yeah.
Probably by fourth or fifth game. That
Wow.
was just my observation from last season.
Right.
And for me, he should have been playing a lot more. It was disappointing when he actually got injured because I was like, man, he got hurt, and he was just
Yeah.
like, it seemed like he was like right there
You
on the
gotta
cusp.
Shake
But-
up there too.
Yeah, but if these guys actually, if those guys can stay healthy, man, this
That's what I'm
defense is gonna
saying.
be Yeah,
That's what I'm saying. With that linebacker core is going to be the key to that team being, our team being I'm talking elite. You always heard that from Rex, and but when the big spots came and we needed to stop like we did in Buffalo last year, and we didn't get it, and we can go on and on different games. We can go back on games and say the defense needed to step up. They didn't. This is the type of defense when you really have that shutdown defense. A shutdown defense is when your offense takes the lead or takes a 2-score lead and they're coming down and you just put them away. That's a defense. And that's where I think this linebacker corps could make that team be an elite, defense, I think.
Actually, even when the offense is on a day where the offense is sputtering and the defense is just saying, we got to go do this and keep us in it. Keep you within a score or 3 points. And if a defense does that, you have a really, really, really good defense.
I was surprised.
Right there is the way the defense was playing for most of last season.
Yeah.
Hopefully this year, and with these new additions, they take that next step, and it's like, whoa.
What I didn't
this
realize
defense is actually taking away games from
Yes. I didn't realize that on the way here, I was listening to Sheldon Richardson and Mo on ESPN, and Sheldon said that their defense never scored last year.
No,
they never had a turnover for a score.
Right.
He goes, and that's something that they wanted to change. They said they started the year out having a lot of turnovers. And then it started. They didn't get the turnovers, and they want to improve on number one, turning the ball over and scoring. But like he says, man, we want to get off the field so Fitz could have the ball more, and that's what he said. And that's the winning formula, especially on the road.
That's the thing with the great defenses. The great defenses don't just cause turnovers; they score off those turnovers. So that gives you those bonus points that you weren't looking for, in the final score.
And one of the things that I think gets overlooked sometimes when you look at the defense is how many times the special teams put the defense in a hole last year. I mean, how many times were we starting drives on, the opponent was starting drives on the 45-yard line, at midfield, past midfield. What do you think Brant Boyer is going to bring to the Jets on special teams this year?
Better do a lot more than the other guys.
I gotta say, hearing him at camp today, just barking at everybody.
They got rid of what's his face? They got rid of
Bobby April.
Bobby April. That was he was with a lot of teams, Cowboys, a bunch of teams. Anyway,
you gotta love his mantra, 500 miles an hour all the time.
It makes you nuts when you just score and all of a sudden the team gets a kickoff and they're down on the 30-yard line. That just makes you nuts. Or the punt return. But I tell you, more than anything else, what really was just destroyed me was our punter. The punter was ridiculous. He drove me nuts. I mean, the only guy that drove me more nuts was Weatherford. He's in love with himself. How about kicking the ball more in Pittsburgh for the championship game when we're sitting there and he's got to kick a punt and he gets it 19 yards. We're down 10-0. I tell you, these punters make me nuts. They got to make you nuts. The players got to be looking at these guys like, are you serious? This is all you got to do. You got to kick the ball.
And
make you nuts,
man. It
man.
can get that way, man, because the kickers are basically their own entity during camp, and anything else, you see those guys by themselves a lot. It's kind of like in baseball. When you see a pitcher in the 8th inning has a no-hitter, nobody's around him. Nobody's saying anything.
Right.
Kickers are like that. Kickers are like that pretty much 24/7.
That's great. Camp. That's great, so, but it's the truth.
It is.
But, the outcome of the game is so huge. I mean, the punting, the field position. I mean, Tom Coughlin was huge on that. Field position. I mean, I just feel like that wasn't happening. It seemed like it wasn't addressed enough, man. I thought we could have won more games just from that alone. The punter killed us, and then the punt, the coverage team. Even more than the kickoffs, really, because the kickoffs they don't even return it much anymore. I mean, what's the percentages? But the punt returns, that's huge. You gotta stop the punt returns, man. It's huge.
That's hidden yardage.
Hidden yardage
in a game, and that's the third part of the team that people tend to forget about. most time people talk football, it's just offense, defense.
Right.
Forget about special teams and how important special teams is to both sides of the ball, to pin a team back, to make them have to go the long haul, because the percentages are much greater when the team has to go 80 yards than when they have to go 50 yards. And to actually make it to field goal teams, we have a really good field goal kicker. We don't really have to worry about that too much, but those are actually hidden points as well. 50-yard field goals now, well, they were becoming extra points, but you have a guy that makes it on a consistent basis. You don't have to go 70 yards to actually get in field goal position anymore. Go 40, you have a shot. So those are those hidden points, that hidden yardage that's in a game that people tend to forget about.
Having a guy like Lachlan Edwards who could, get some hang time, pin the ball inside the team's 5-yard line. You should actually have a guy who can return kicks this year. You got Jalen Marshall battling out with Chandler Worthy, Jeremy Ross. So
we don't know if maybe Hackett's
he got cut already today.
Oh, he did get cut?
He got cut already.
I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Wow, they didn't waste no time.
A couple hours ago, he got
They didn't waste no time.
No.
Wow.
I was looking forward to that matchup.
I mean, he didn't even get it. One practice?
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, did he even get what time was the timeline? Anyway, what really amazes me is I hear a lot of chatter about like Nick Falk, that he's like he may get cut. Like, what are they talking about? Yeah, but I mean, Falk is a proven commodity in the NFL. He's in college. He's in the NFL. I mean,
that experience for a kicker is.
I'm amazed just listening to that. I'm like, who's talking like that?
Kicked in a lot of games.
It's got to be Manesh. He's got to start his nonsense.
Yeah, and he's
had Nick Falk has had money kicks.
Yeah.
He's been very consistent. He hasn't. You can look back. He hasn't missed many kicks.
He missed one last season, I believe, and I was literally almost fell off my chair.
You actually, that's the difference in a good kicker, because when they miss, you go,
what?
Like you're shocked rather than, oh, he better make it. So he's underrated. He's extremely underrated. As long as his leg's okay, I think we're in good shape there. I don't think that kid has a chance that's coming from college, my opinion. So.
All right, so Rob, Ed, we had a lot of Jeff fans on social media today that had a lot of questions for you guys. We chose 3. You guys are each going to have 30 seconds to give your thoughts on this, all right? First question comes from C. George Weiss 78. When the season starts, will there be a new right tackle for the Jets? Rob, start off.
I believe so. It's going to have to be that way, and hopefully, Kalady can actually get his mojo back, and it'll flow from that point on. So if he gets his mojo back, then everything will fall into place. But I do believe there's going to be a new starting right tackle when the season starts.
You think Giacomini's going to be gone, in other words? No, I don't think Giacomini's going to be gone. No. I mean, I think they're high on Corvalli, right?
Yeah.
But, no, I think Jock will still be there.
Okay. Next question comes from Walsh NY Jets. Who is more important to our success, the corner opposite Darrelle Revis or the outside linebacker opposite Malden?
I'm going to say the outside linebacker opposite Malden, because whoever that might be at that point in time, as we were talking in the previous segment about the defense and me personally with the front 7, whoever it is over there, those front 7 guys, if they're flying around and making plays early on in downs, it's just creating havoc in the front 7, the speed that's there, especially with the young guys. That's actually going to be more important than the guy that's actually opposite Revis, because that's going to give the back 4 and whoever's opposite Revis a better chance to actually make plays.
That's a great point. Ed?
See, I think that the corner position with screen is going to be more solid. The question mark is the young kids. So who's going to fill that void? I agree with you. I think we have more of a chance of being solid in that back 4.
It'd be nice if D. Milliner could stay on the field, right?
That's the whole point of being an elite defense, what we covered before. You need to – those linebackers are going to be key, and I agree with Rob. I think that, you want that other guy opposite Malden. But, Malden's also has got to prove it. I mean, it is his second year, and he did come on, but we're, like what Todd Bowles said, we're expecting big things out of him. He put the pressure on him. Yeah. He made it clear in minicamp. We're expecting big things out of Malden.
But he saw what it was that he could do, so that's the reason why the pressure's there.
Yep, that's good.
And our final question comes from NYJ Supporters Club. Are you comfortable with Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg backing up Ryan Fitzpatrick?
I guess he just skipped right over Geno, but
That's what he's assuming, I guess. Yep.
I guess he's assuming that. But I'll say this: they picked Hack this year early enough, and I think they're hoping for big things from him. I think they think Petty is probably going to have to prove himself a little more during camp and in the preseason. So, but he skipped over Geno, and I don't think either one of those guys would be the backup to Fitz. Geno's probably going to be the backup to Fitz, but it'll be Hack that'll probably be third. And then
I got a feeling this guy thinks a little bit differently.
Well, I think it really comes down to, and we had talked about this before, I think it really comes down to what Bryce Petty, like you said, what he does in those first and second games in the preseason. You're going to see, does he get it or he doesn't get it? They drafted him for a reason. He's a fourth-round pick. They're not wasting draft picks. They have no allegiance to Geno Smith. He was already on the team.
Right.
So right now, when you look at it, the smart money is that Geno would be the backup. But if Petty becomes what they drafted him, if he gets it, I think they're going to go with Petty as the backup quarterback. It all depends on it. We don't know that until we see what's going to go on in those first couple of games. I mean, if you see Petty get it, Geno's gone.
So you'd be comfortable.
He won't even be on the team.
You'd be comfortable having two backups without any experience before. You okay
Well,
with
like
that?
I said, if the kid is showing something, then I'm if he's first off, you just don't want to be thinking about a scenario where your I mean, you have to as a team, but you don't want to be thinking about your starting quarterback not being there. I mean, are they worried about Eli Manning? Are they worried about Aaron Rodgers? No, they're expecting them to play. I mean, the only thing I want to see is Fitz stop running and
learn to
going
slide
head first. You're a nutty Irishman. You're a nutty Irishman. You like when you had the cut on the thing and you're going, ah. I said, but in reality, you need to slide. Come on, bro. Slide. You got $12 million. Come on, slide.
Great stuff. All right, guys, just make sure you're following us on social media. You can find us on Twitter at NYJFTV, and we'll see you guys again next week.